Hello and welcome to Web of Light. I am Dr. Kevin and I am here with my guest co-host for the month of February, Matt Connarton. Hey Matt.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm well.
I see the coffee finally kicked in. You're a little more alive than you were for the last show we taped.
It's getting there,
It's getting there.
I was up very late.
And that's unusual how?
Not at all. I'm nocturnal by nature. I stay up to like 5 a.m. working. Sleep schmeep.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
So for those of you who do not know, Matt Connarton has his own show called Matt Connarton Unleashed in the afternoon, and it's a drive time, though sometimes I call it a drive-by, because some of his content's a little drive-by shooting, like
Or drive-through.
Drive-through.
Yes,
or drive-through. 95.3 out of Manchester, but it streams all over the world.
Yep.
And you'll find me regularly popping my head in there as well.
Yes, indeed.
So he'll be joining us. If you are joining us for the first time on the Web of Light, we are picking up new stations all the time that are carrying us. I know that we're being carried from Maine to California, but I know that that number is increasing. So if you're joining us for the first time, please send me an email at drkevin@weboflight.com. It should be right underneath here, because I've got the greatest crew in the world that shoot me. So we'll say Dr. Kevin, no dot, DR, K-E-V-I-N, at weboflight.com. And let me know, if there are topics you'd like us to cover here at Web of Light. We try to weave a web of light in the world, share with you people who are weaving a web of light in the world, making a difference. And we can Skype people in. They don't have to be located in the Hudson, New Hampshire, Nashua, New Hampshire area. We can have guests from all over the world.
Yeah.
So let us know. But say hey, and we'll welcome you to our family, to our Web of Light family on air. You guys may remember, and if you haven't, you can go to my YouTube channel, because all the shows after they've been aired go on YouTube, My Dr. Kevin, MYDRKEVIN. And they have all of the Web of Lights and my other TV show, Dragons, Unicorns, and Other Creative Creatures. And then you have me on...
Yep, on IPMNation.com. You have your own Dr. Kevin and Friends television channel that streams 24/7.
Yes.
It's always on.
With almost 30 years of me presenting, teaching, sharing, hosting, stuff like this. So you can always go check that out as well. But you may remember that last year, Matt and I did a show, which I was kind of sort of the brainchild for. You liked the idea, but I was like, I want to do how to survive the Trump presidency. We have just come up on the year anniversary of surviving the Trump presidency.
We've survived.
We survived.
Apparently our show worked.
Yeah, hey. Yeah. And you can always go back and watch the whole show. But basically at that time, I was saying to people, find 2 to 3 things that are really important to you, focus on them, and don't get scattered all over the place, and don't end up getting taken in by the shell game. Because, as I affectionately call him, our bully in chief does the shell game really well. And I don't say bully in chief as a disrespecter, it's as an identifier.
Right.
No one can point out to the things he says and has said that are recorded in his own words, his own tweets, his own video, and say that that's not bullying. If any kid did it on the school ground, they would be accused of bullying and their parents would be called in the office. We'd need a medium to call Trump's parents in the office, and I don't know if they'd even answer the call.
Well, to be fair, though, Melania kind of balances it out, because she has that anti-cyberbullying initiative, which, she goes and gives speeches without any apparent sense of irony.
No. So before we bring on our first our only guest, because we only do usually one guest per show.
Yes.
So how do you think the first year has gone? What are the highlights for you? You're the political operative of the two of us, more so. Yeah.
Well, he hasn't blown up the world or anything, so that's a plus. We're still here. It's not as, people who don't like Trump, of course, got very freaked out and worried. And, so far, nothing too catastrophic. But there's a lot of things I don't like. But I knew that was going to happen. I knew there was going to be a lot of things I didn't like.
They still keep on saying that his approval level is like the worst ever of any president.
Yeah.
Is that hype, or do you think that that's true?
It's probably true. I just don't think it matters.
Okay.
Most Trump supporters I know, there's nothing this man could ever do that would disappoint them. So I think most people who voted for him will vote for him again in 2020, because anything negative that they see or hear, it's, oh, that's just fake news. So they've essentially given Trump a blank check to do anything. He can, tweet about, a journalist's bleeding face, and they're just fine with it. They're not offended at all. So they think it's great.
They've drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Well, but there was a whole section of people that were just so upset with the system that they were willing to give Trump a shot. Mm-hmm. Now, he's lost some of those. Not everybody that voted for Trump was a Kool-Aid drinker. Right.
Yeah, I'm sure he's lost a few. I got to tell you, though, I'm hard-pressed to find anyone who voted for him who is upset with anything that he does or says. It's really remarkable. They're in love with him.
Well, it's really interesting because there is something scarily Stepford Wives about that,
yeah,
for those of you who get the reference. Because any other president, a year into their presidency, even people who voted for them would have some criticism.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so much of what he said and done, I mean, if Obama had said or done any of these things, I mean, they would have been calling for his impeachment. A lot of it's just naked partisanship, but no, the standard of behavior for Trump is so much lower than any other president in history. It's remarkable. It's stunning.
Yeah. Well, some people would say that he's clearing the swamp, and that's why there's such a stink coming out of Washington. On the other hand, that stink coming out of Washington might be that he's just added his own additional swamp.
Right.
So the stink has intensified. If you're somebody who finds that you don't like stink, if you think that there are really obnoxious smells out there that make you sick to your stomach, that make you want to run in the other direction, for some of you that would be coming out of Washington right now.
Yep.
But for others of you, it may be a skunk outside, or it might be something that's become a science experiment in your refrigerator. You have a very tangible, we have a very tangible relationship with smell in this society, or as humans for the most part, unless you have a smell compromised illness. Most people associate smells with, grandma's sugar cookies, or happiness or joy, or pain or misery or suffering. Today's guest, LeShelle Woodard, is the founder and creator of, you can either call it LE Essentials, which is a essential oil blend, or La Essentials, which of course we know me, I'm going to go La Essentials because
very French.
Very French.
Oui, oui.
And so I want to welcome her. LeShelle, welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. So have you created a blend to survive this stink coming out of Washington, D.C.?
Well, Dr. Kevin, that's quite a blend.
Yeah.
Let's just think for a moment about what that blend would have to do.
Right.
Let me see. Anxiety, critical thinking.
Anger. Frustration.
Boy.
Yeah, and we'd want to have some joy notes in there to, make people be joyful.
Uplifting, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have, is there an essential oil blend that cures Kool-Aid drinking?
Unfortunately, no, but it's a great idea.
A return to reality.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, there is an essential oil that I would do a GoFundMe project to pour buckets of it all over the United States if it would bring people back to the reality of we're still one country, we still care about each other, we still have more in common no matter what DC and the media tell us than we have apart. And that at the core of it, if we're given a chance, we can be a pretty loving set of people if we're not being all riled up by the people that are abusing us and taking advantage by keeping us at each other's throats. So there's the next oil for you to create.
Thank you. Thank you.
So So tell us a little bit about your journey and a little bit about what brought you to create. Now, what do you prefer? Because I jokingly, do you prefer LE Essentials or La Essentials?
LE Essentials.
So, of course, I'm going to say La Essentials for the rest of the time. But you get to see LE because you draw the straw to be the good guy today? I'm the bad cop, you're the good cop?
Oh, I didn't know we were assigning roles. That's confusing.
You want to go back and forth then?
Because, yeah, it's easier. It's just
Okay.
easier.
LE Essentials. Tell us, what does it do? How is it different? What came about? And how did you get interested? How did you first get interested in essential oils?
Well, I am the owner and lead clinician at Life Enhancement Psychotherapy, hence the LE, Life Enhancement.
Ah.
Aha. Aha. Yes. We last year hit our 10th year of service.
Wow.
And, we're obviously thrilled about that. But as a team, we were sitting around one day just sort of saying, well, what's next? What can we do to better serve our clients? What can we do to better, serve our community? And interestingly enough, our youngest clinician, straight out of graduate school, chimes in and says, well, it would be nice if we could see fewer clients. And of course, all of us older clinicians were looking at her like, excuse me, why would we want fewer clients? And she says, no, what if we could do more to sort of help people not get into such a condition where they're sitting in our offices feeling highly, emotional, sometimes hopeless, so on and so forth. We were tossing ideas back and forth, and the same clinician says, well, you know what? Lisa, another one of our team, has been doing essential oils for years. Why couldn't we use them as something that we can integrate into our care? So the conversation continued and eventually led to a wellness-oriented discussion regarding the use of essential oils as a way of maintaining emotional health. The idea being that we are so led by our emotions. Something difficult happens, our mind is racing, we're acting according to anxiety or panic or fear. Well, what if you had a tool that would help you to maintain your grounding? What if you had a tool that would help you to stay focused? So I'm the empiricist of our team. So of course I put the brakes on the whole thing and said, let me go. Let me see what the data tell us. We pride ourselves on empirically supported treatments. So I went, I did the research, so on and so forth, and lo and behold, there's an entire body of literature out there that supports the use of essential oils for the exact things that we are hoping to do. So, lavender, tons of data. The citrus oils, tons of data. So with that, I gave the go-ahead. We literally started amassing a huge collection of essential oils. We started researching various scents and blends, so on and so forth. Months and months later, we came up with LE Essentials.
So, I have 2 or 3 questions. Matt will just run me over whenever he wants to ask something. That's how we work.
Yes.
So the first thing is, so did you ever engage a trained aromatherapist in the creation of any of it, or was it all done by your own research?
No, absolutely. So we did our own research. We came up with a blends, set of 4 different blends. But before going ahead, yes, we hired a certified aromatherapist to review each of our recipes.
Yeah.
She made the relevant adjustments, gave us all of the cautionary information, finally gave us a stamp of approval. So absolutely,
good.
We know that these oils are safe.
Yeah. Now, Life
Enhancement Essentials.
Life Enhancement Associates. Sorry.
Essentials.
Life Enhancement.
The agency is Life Enhancement Psychotherapy.
Life Enhancement Psychotherapy, yeah. The agency is what I wanted to look at. So now that is, you say clinicians. Clinicians can mean a lot of things. Is this mental health counselors, is psychologists, psychiatrists? Can you give my viewers an idea of the center itself? What kind of services does it offer? or has it offered?
Sure. We're a team of 4. The prerequisite for working for life enhancement is that each clinician has to bring something new to the table. So, you know, I'm the psychologist, so I have all of the empirical training. 20 years of experience have resulted in a really big focus on extending your traditional treatments to better meet the needs of the individual. So, psychodynamic therapies, cognitive behavioral therapies, but also things that clients don't usually expect, body-based therapies, breath work, guided imagery, meditation, so on and so forth. You know, so that's myself. We have a certified yoga therapist and mindfulness coach. We have our child and family specialist, and then we have our psychoanalyst.
Okay.
So, you know, that's our team. Our goal is that if any client that comes into our agency, they may work with me individually, but they are benefiting from the wealth of our team as we are structured so that each clinician is responsible for his or her clients, but also a portion of everyone else's clients in terms of knowing why did this person seek our assistance, what do they need to feel better, what do they need to sustain that growth, so on and so forth. So we will come into our team meetings and say, you know, this is Joe Smith, and everyone will know who Joe Smith is. This is where we are right now. Okay, I'm doing body-based work, but I may say, you know, Lisa, what might I add in terms of mindfulness? Because this is where he's stuck. You know, and so she'll sort of say, okay, let's try this. And then as a means of doing that, she will make sure the entire team knows the technique she's talking about. I can take it back to Joe Smith and then report back to the team. This is the added intervention, this is how it worked, you know, this is what he needs next, or here's the plan, so on and so forth.
So Lisa is the yoga person?
She's our certified yoga therapist.
May I ask her full name?
Yes, it's Lisa Teleas.
Lisa Teleas, okay. I've been around for so long that sometimes I'll be like, oh yeah, I know that person. Right. So I always like to know. So there's you, there's Lisa Teleas.
Yes.
And then there is a child, family and child.
Yes, family and child specialist, Mia Gardner.
Okay.
And then our lovely psychoanalyst, who is my left hand, she's our director of operations as well, is Elena Zelikman.
Okay. So she's a psychiatrist and you're a psychologist when you say?
She's a psychoanalyst, or a psychoanalytic psychotherapist is her technical title.
Okay. Because I think most people, if you said psychoanalyst, would think psychiatrist. I don't think.
No, she's almost the opposite.
Okay.
She is the classically trained clinician. So her training started out with Sigmund Freud's theories.
Okay.
Yes, basically.
Oh, she and my dad would get along.
Well, I've told her on several occasions, I don't think I could ever be her client.
Yeah.
Yes. She does the traditional thing. Her clients come in, they have to lay on the couch.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then she sort of probes looking for that underlying childhood conflict or the unresolved unconscious conflict.
Right.
So on and so forth.
Yes.
Yes.
Tell me about your mother.
Yeah, precisely. Precisely.
Yeah.
And you're a psychologist.
I am.
So very interesting. You know, a lot of times we talk on here on Web of Light, and I never miss an opportunity to talk about the round table, which is that, you know, and a lot of times because we're talking to people who are doing alternative therapies, non-traditional stuff, I usually make the reference to MDs more. But, you know, one of the things we promote on this show is that, you know, an MD can either be a minor deity or a managing director. And that if you have a minor deity, you want to fire them and get them. Get somebody else because they're just going to tell you what to do and you're going to do what they say and you don't ask questions and you do it and you go through the assembly line and that's it. Or you have a managing director that says, who do you want at this table? Who do you want? I've been at tables with managing directors, MDs, from the perspective of being a medical intuitive and an energy worker, I'm in my 28th year of practice as a spiritual coach, counselor, and catalyst, and do work with aromatherapies as part of, if somebody comes in and does a medical intuitive with me, and we'll work with them, and I'll work with them. A lot of times, if somebody is very deeply into a terminal, life-threatening diagnosis or a degenerative disease, that sometimes you have to start with a homeopathic and an essential oil, because anything else would put them into a healing crisis. So been working with essential oils for years, which is why I was thrilled to have you on. To talk about some of this and to see how much more this integration, because let me tell you, 28 years ago, a psychotherapist would not be talking about aromatherapies.
Right.
Yes. Well, to tell you the truth, we're waiting to hear. There's going to be some backlash from the more conservative.
Oh, sure, no doubt.
Yes.
No doubt, yeah.
Clinicians are trained in a very conservative manner. You know your theories, you stick to your theories, your blank slate, so on and so forth. It's experience that some of it's just not necessary. Some of it can actually work against the needs of certain clients. So we're sure someone out there is going to complain and say that this isn't real psychotherapy or we shouldn't be doing this. That's fine.
Well, it's funny because I'm a hypnotherapist, and what I've noticed, in dealing with psychiatrists and psychologists and so forth, is some of them really like us and some of them really hate us.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them that don't like us. It's kind of interesting.
That's what we're anticipating.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
But you know what? The public is loving this.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that's a real indicator.
Yeah.
If we were sort of saying, this is what we're doing, and obviously, firstly our own clients, but then the broader community, they were looking at us saying, "What are you doing?" Or "There's no way we'd try this." Then we'd scratch the idea. But it's been the opposite. People are excited. They like the idea of having something that puts them in control, that's not a medication, that they can kind of have in their pocket and learn to use it along with the behavioral techniques that we teach them, and go forward in a more mindful, sort of healthy way. That's our indicator.
We had on the show last month, we had Jay Gupta. Do you know Jay?
I know of him.
Know of him, yeah. I've known Jay for years, and we actually had a great show on yoga as medicine. And he's been doing studies, he's been focused on this since the 80s, of doing the crossover of how you can do yoga as either a support or even an elimination of taking drugs for certain issues.
Absolutely.
And he's a pharmacist, so he comes with the traditional. It's interesting to watch more and more of the people that are crossing the bridges, that are coming in, and they're still probably falling at the tail end of the early adopters. You're probably still in the early adopter phase in your field on this, but you're getting. But I've been watching it. I had a professor at a university who gave permission to some of his students that were studying to be therapists to do an internship with me as a spiritual coach and counselor, because he was so fascinated by the things that I did that they weren't teaching, that because he had met some of my clients, and this was 20 years ago, met some of my clients and said, "You're getting results. There's something you're doing, and it's getting results." And now you see it all the time, but 25 years ago when I was giving people homework, nobody was given homework. I was like, no. This isn't you get your life fixed once a week. This is you've got to be doing stuff every day. You've got to be going through. You got to be
actually participate in the process.
Have to participate, stuff like that. And a lot of people call me a quack, and I still say I probably fall in the traditional society. Maybe I'm at a high of 10% of acceptance and 90% he's a quack.
You think so? Still, even now?
No, maybe it's 80-20. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I do get more reach outs, but you said it. It's the results.
Exactly.
I help the clients.
Right.
They're thrilled. They recommend. I've never had a shortage of. I've had to shut down my practice from taking new clients at time periods. because I couldn't see as many people that wanted to see me that were being let down by traditional therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting blend, a very interesting combination. Now, do you see it as something that supports them from session to session as they get healthier, or do you see it as something that actually can eliminate the need for sessions? Does it fast forward it, or does it just?
The hope is that it fast forwards.
Okay, good.
Yeah. The idea is if you use these oils and you use our techniques, you will learn how to better recognize what your own body is telling you. You will learn to better recognize your own emotions. Well, if you can do that, then you can sort of nip it in the bud. If you feel your mood declining, you'll know to engage in better self-care. And that's even more so with anxiety or, people who tend to be highly emotional. If you can catch those early cues that something is not quite right here and respond in a nurturing way, then you can keep your body, keep your emotions calm and even. So do it regularly. You won't need us. That really is our goal. We want people to be well. It's as much as we love our clients, as much as we love our work, unfortunately, the average client, who ends up in our offices, A, they've been suffering for a long time, and B, it's painful. We don't want to see people in that kind of pain. So if we can give them a tool that sort of says, if up front you use this, you may not need us, that's great. Or if you do need us, but you learn how to use these techniques, then hey, this may be you're with us for less time, you're on your way, and you have more tools to keep yourself well.
So how long has this been implemented at Life Enhancement?
We're still within our first year.
Okay. So you don't have a lot of documentable yet of how much it's shortened the process?
Correct.
Okay. What would you say the average length of the person that comes in? And I know everybody's different. So, but there's still a more or less, would you say, somebody has been involved with you guys in the past to get to the place where maybe they're doing a check-in once or twice a year or whatever? What would you say that was before LE Essentials?
Dr. Kevin, that is a tough question. I'd have to say the underlying variable, there are a couple. One is the individual's openness. I had one young lady come in and I gave her one of our inhalers. We call it the Take Control inhaler. The idea is that if you tend to be emotionally dysregulated, you use this inhaler and you use it with a breathing technique. It gets you nice and grounded.
Yeah.
So she comes in 1 week and she's having a hard time. So I say, try this and then let me know what you think. And so I got a text from her a few days later and she said, can I not use this? And I thought, oh my goodness, something's going on here. And I said, well, are you okay? You okay? She says, yes. So then she comes in the next week for her session. And I said, what's going on there? And she says, well, the problem is it works. I'm looking at her like, the problem is it works. Why is that a problem? She sort of said, I don't know. It's this external thing, and it seems kind of weird, and I don't understand why it works, but it works. So the whole barrier there was sort of helping her to understand that, it's a combination of things. It's the oils, it's not a magic wand, and it's up to you to use it, so on and so forth, and then she sort of calmed down. So for those individuals that are open and that will follow our protocols, we see a vast improvement.
Now, did you ever, either of you ever see a movie called Resurrection? It was a late 70s movie. I think it might have even just been like one of those movie of the weeks. I'm not sure, but I think you can get it. It's about a woman who died, came back. When she came back, she had the ability to do hands-on healing. So she had a near-death experience. Ellen Bernstein was the actress that played the role.
Oh, okay.
And she then got caught up in driving around and doing the country fair tent revival, hands-on healing, and a whole circus was built around her. But she came out from this life where she had been kind of, hard living and drinking and all sorts of stuff, to now she's pushed into this. And the whole reason I bring it up, and there are some of my students, in some of my classes, I tell them to go watch this movie, is because there was one woman lying in a bed, and she went to do the laying of the hands and stuff like this, and she turned around and she said, "I can't help this woman," and she left. And her grandmother, who was her guiding figure, said, "What was wrong?" And she goes, "She needs her illness. She wasn't ready to let go of it. I can't take something away that somebody's not." And I always found that very powerful. I mean, again, this was like a movie of the week in the 70s, but I know you can find it on, I know it's out there because people have got back to me and said that they watched it.
Might just be on YouTube.
Yeah. But it's very profound. And I thought you were, if they're not ready to let go of it, there's nothing you can do.
Right.
But, normally, of course, this is my view of the world. You may disagree with it, and that's okay. The physical is the depository for the mental, emotional, and spiritual imbalances.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Sure.
So in this, the inhaler, as you call them, the aromatherapy, gives the person enough physical foundation to do the deep work on the emotional and the mental. So what I would wonder is, does it work really well for this woman, but if she doesn't do the rest of the work, does its effectiveness wear off over time? Because even like taking a medication, people don't understand that a lot of these emotional-based medications just build a wall between you and the emotion, and that's why they have to replace them every few years, because the emotions become so big that the wall can't be built anymore without doing so much damage to the body. They have to take the wall down and rebuild it with a different medication.
It's kind of like addressing the symptom, not the problem.
The cause, So
Absolutely.
the aromatherapy it can be used as a strong builder, so the deep work can get done.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, but you're right. You make a very good point. You have to have a person who's ready to give up whatever's they've been holding on to. And it's tough, if you're coming in and you've been dealing with something for a very long time, and unfortunately there are a lot of people who are dealing with things that trace back to childhood. So one of the barriers is if this, whatever it is, this depression, this anxiety, this belief system, if this isn't present, then what's going to take its place?
Who am I?
And who am I? Absolutely.
And that's what I teach my Wei Chi my Wei Chi students. It is, in this process, you always have to be letting them know that there is going to be something that's going to fill that void.
Yes.
You've got to understand that the void will suck something into it.
Right.
And you want that client to be empowered to decide, which is where we do the visualization work in the Wei Chi. You want that client to decide what's going to take its place that's a healthier choice. But people are afraid of, well, I know this demon.
Yeah.
This demon hasn't killed me.
People get
Yes.
comfortable in their misery.
Yes.
And they don't even necessarily realize it, but yeah.
And then they find somebody and they get married, and then they have what I call perfectly matching dysfunctions. One of them gets healthy and the other one doesn't. That's what we call divorce.
Yeah.
So you have 4 that you've developed so far.
Yes.
One was called, you already said, what?
Take control.
Take control. So give me the names of the other 3, if you don't mind.
Certainly. The next one is called Exhale, as in exhale to feel better. It's so take control is for emotional grounding. Exhale is for anxiety. ML Smile stands for Mona Lisa Smile. It's a cognitive behavioral technique.
Okay.
So if you're having a difficult day, picture Mona Lisa and then smile as she does. And notice the shift in your mood.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You pair that smile with the oil to uplift your mood. Again, for those who will do it, literally in the instructions it says, go ahead and give it a try.
Yeah.
You do the smile, inhale the oils. It can help you feel much, much better.
Yeah.
See, and for me, I wouldn't do the mirror. I'd put on Nat King Cole
Yeah.
Mona Lisa.
That works as well.
See, I'd attach it to the Nat King Cole version of the Mona Lisa song.
I like that.
And then the last one?
Letting go, as in letting go of your worries for a peaceful night's sleep. Yes.
Now I'm in Frozen.
Wow. Oh, let it go. Yeah.
Let it
yeah.
go.
Took me a second. Yeah.
I have a weekend workshop that I teach called Everything That You Need to Know About Life You Can Learn Through a Broadway Musical. And it takes songs from the Broadway musicals of the 20s all the way up to the current day, and I teach life lessons from them.
Oh my.
So, yes.
Oh
So-
my. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, so of course. So, well, hey, you know, Life Enhancements can have me come in for the weekend and teach it if they see if the people want to take it. Anything I can do with laughter and fun to get a point across obviously makes it more effective.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So letting go, I'm gonna call it let it go because I'm gonna think of Frozen. Letting go, exhale, ML smile, ML smile, and then the first one again was
Take control.
take control. Okay, so you're dealing with grounding, you're dealing with peace, you're dealing with joy, and you're dealing with
Sleep.
sleep. Okay.
Yes.
Just trying to make the connections, keep it all in my head. Where do you see, and I'm going to go back to the practice for a second. I brought you on to talk about the oils, but I'm always very enthusiastic about integrative, holistic care, and it sounds like Ellie.
Life enhancement.
Yeah, life enhancement therapies, life enhancement
Psychotherapy.
psychotherapies. Psychotherapy is definitely making that move into integrative holistic care.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
if you need a hypnotist in the group, talk to Matt.
I've already noted, yes.
Yes. You're probably not ready for a medical intuitive yet, or spiritual coaching counselor. But anyways, so where are you located? What city?
We are in Hanover, Massachusetts. So we are midway between Boston and Cape Cod.
Okay. I was going to say, I'm not sure
Oh,
where
so
Hanover
you're the
is.
South Shore.
Yes.
Oh, so you had quite the drive.
Yeah, that is.
I didn't think I realized that. Now, well, when are you going to get a North Shore location? You know, Matt and I can find your North Shore location. How's
There you
that?
Find a site and send me the information. We'll check it
right,
out.
all right.
Yes.
I used to actually have. I used to actually have a split office where I would do 2 days a week in Portland, Maine, and 3 days a week in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. So that
It's very doable. Yes.
Yeah.
and then I would let people use both my office spaces on the days I wasn't there
Right.
for the, to be using it the other days. Because that was back when I had a holistic healing center in Portsmouth, and we had a couple of practitioners' rooms, and we had a teacher's room, we had a workshop space and stuff like that. I don't think you ever made it to that space on Morona Road.
I never saw the place in Portsmouth, no.
Yeah,
Or in Portland.
yeah. It was the place in Portsmouth. I designed it and designed all the colors. And
Oh, really? Yeah.
They put in window skylights for me,
Oh,
so
wow.
they came
My.
through, and I got to choose everything. I got to construct the whole space.
Wow.
A lot of fun. Anyways, I digress. You're going to be at the Web of Light Expo,
Indeed.
and you're going to be there with the LE Essentials doing that.
Yes.
Now, you're also going to be speaking on mindfulness.
Yes, indeed. So it all comes together. The idea with mindfulness, and really whatever form of meditation works for you, the idea is utilize it. Okay, so the talk is entitled, Why Everyone Should Be Practicing Mindfulness. Well, here's why. As a population, Americans are incredibly anxious And unfortunately, we manage our anxiety by being in motion. You know, we create this illusion that if I've got a dozen things that I need to keep going and they're all going, then that shows, you know, that I'm doing well. I'm on
Right,
top of things. Well, no, actually, that's showing that you can't sit still.
Yeah.
You know?
Shows you're running away.
For many, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're running away. You know, so the entire concept of mindfulness is, you know, sit quietly, observe. Don't judge, just observe. You know, and see what that does for you. You know, and it's, you know, it's, as I say, with many forms of meditation, the concepts are quite simple, but, you know, the practice takes discipline, you know, and dedication. But if you do, the returns are outstanding.
Well, do you find a lot of people will say to you that they think that they just can't do it? Because I run into that all the time, because obviously hypnotherapy and meditation, it's the same. And, you know, a lot of times people will tell me, oh, well, I can't do that. I can't be hypnotized. You know, it's like, well, you go into states of hypnosis thousands of times a day and don't even realize it, you know, and it's something anyone can do. But
Yes, I tell them if you can fall asleep at night,
right.
which some of them can, but most of them can.
Yeah.
If you can fall asleep at night, then you can learn how to meditate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
One of the populations that I do a lot of work with and have off and on through the years, because my practice kind of shifts whether I'm doing more family or couples or, you know, abuse or whatever. I mean, having a spiritual coaching, counseling, catalyst practice, it all falls under spiritual. So I don't have a narrow focus. But I do a lot of work with ADD and ADHD. I have several books out on that, and I've spoken all over the world about ADD as part of the evolutionary process, broadening the bandwidth of humanity, not a disease, disorder, or disability. I've also spoken quite frequently on TV, radio, and in person on why we need to not be making our children cash cows and laboratory rats.
Absolutely.
All of that being said, I think that, you know, one of the things I always teach to my ADD, ADHD, but it crosses over into others, is I teach a moving meditation. There's no reason why you can't do moving meditation. You know, I used to teach a class called Meditation for Enlightenment, Not Torture. And I haven't taught it for a while, but you know, that class would sell out whenever I teach it, because people's like, I want to meditate. I'm like, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't have to be.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It can be.
Right.
Nothing wrong with actually. You know I'm going to go with this. I've had a radio show for like 13 years now called The Dr. Kevin Show. And I've been on a lot of different places. I've been on CBS Radio and Voice America and all sorts of different places. Currently I'm on Om Times. So when I introduce it, I'll go, and we're changing the world one Om at a time.
Yes.
But yeah, meditation, you can have moving meditations, and you can have something that's very interactive, and you can have something that maybe you'll get to the sitting cross-legged and doing the Om, and again, but that is by far not the
norm.
Right.
It doesn't have to be the norm.
Yeah.
And it can be just as effective.
Yes.
There's no lack of effectiveness there by doing
Yes.
that. So I'm going to put you on the spot for a second.
Okay.
And now, are you coming up alone for the Web of Light Expo, or are you going to be coming up with some of your associates to be there?
At least one has committed to coming along. I'm hoping the other two will as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Because now, you guys, you're watching this as it's happening, so I cannot make you any guarantees, and we'll see what happens. But if you wanted to talk to your associates and see about submitting a second topic about something to do with integrative holistic care and how you guys are doing it, but to talk about, we've done this and we've added this and we're doing that bridge, because I'm not one of these. I'm not completely anti-Western medicine. Western medicine has its place. There's more difficulty with Western medicine accepting that it's not the only place in town.
Right.
Yeah.
But I know some alternative practitioners that are pretty toxic towards Western medicine, like it's all evil and must be destroyed.
Yeah.
And that's crazy as well.
Yeah, I've
yeah.
heard some of those people too.
Yeah.
Sure.
Probably some of the same people you're thinking of, yeah.
That's why I like the round table. You know, I'm a bit of a King Arthur fan.
Right.
We should all sit at the table. In the center of the table, where we have the wolf, should be the patient, the client, whatever you want to call them, and they should have the benefit of all of our wisdoms and guidances, all of our tools and techniques, and this should be centered around them and not each other's little ego and little, you know, and and my healing system or my prescription pad is better.
This is absolutely true.
So give it some thought. You know, I am leaving in a few days to go on my honeymoon. I'll be gone for 10 days. When I get back, I'll be finalizing presentations. So get me an email if you guys would like to, you know, and I might have you do one on Saturday and one on Sunday. I mean, you know, we've talked about you're going to be doing something on mindfulness. Right now, I don't have anybody else doing that, and we always want a diversity. But right now, I don't have anybody doing something on, you know, like integrative holistic care for the 21st century.
Yes.
And I think that you guys are out there in the cutting edge of that, and I think that that could be an interesting. So I'm going to put you on the spot, tell you to go see if you want to, you and your partners in crime.
Well, I'm excited, and I think they will too. I know at least 3 of 4 of us will do it.
Okay.
Oh, there
At
you go.
least 3 or 4 of
That's
us,
pretty good.
and we'll talk to the remaining.
Yeah.
Yes.
But again, you know, whoever shows up is perfect. I mean, if somebody is less than comfortable or doesn't think that that's their thing, it's probably, then let it not be their thing. The more that we can come together and work and support and show that, you know, this isn't about, it's not you versus me or me versus you. It's about we are here to help you.
Yes.
You guys have a working model. Would I like to see your table a little bigger? Of course, I'm sure you would too. I
Sure.
mean, there's lots of things. I mean, definitely, it would be great if you know, got a holistic nutritionist or a naturopath or somebody that could talk about how diet affects moods. And there are, you know, unfortunately, comfort foods are oftentimes depressive supportive.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we are physically wired to seek comfort foods when we are stressed and depressed. Yeah.
And let's face it, Madison Avenue got us addicted to them starting in the 50s. They had to give us a problem or there's no use for them so that they could sell us a solution.
Right?
That has been the outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, no, it was premeditated. I have a whole platform called Culture Abuse. And we started getting our culture abused in the 50s right after World War II. I mean, there's a whole, I won't go into it, but you know, there is a whole, and you can watch it happen. Get them addicted to booze, get them addicted to alcohol, the standard cigarettes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I said booze and alcohol, didn't I? Get them alcohol, get them addicted to cigarettes.
Yep.
And, you know, the biggest, one of the biggest crimes that our government commits into is teaching the food chart the way it does. And if you eat the standard American diet, you're pretty guaranteed to get the standard American diseases, which keeps the drug companies and the AMA and all of those people well funded.
This is true.
Funding that they very, very liberally share and write checks to for our government that says, yes, teach this food chart to young kids early on. So early on, they're going to go down a path which guarantees they're going to be patients later on.
Yes.
And diabetics and all of it. All of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
If you could add somebody to your table, if the perfect energy person, what would be the next thing you would add to your table? Or do you think your table is complete?
No, it's interesting that you would bring up nutrition, because that has been on my radar for quite some time now. You know, it's finding a holistic nutritionist who might be willing to work with us. I'd also like to see an herbalist come on board. You know, someone who can just sort of give us more expertise with the use of herbs and how they can, you know, help emotional health. Either one would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We had Sheila Cruikshank was on the show 2 months ago. You'd probably enjoy watching some of my old shows. And she is an herbalist. She just started doing an herbal internship for at Tangled Roots here in Nashua, who is Cheryl Burns, that was
That's
a guest
who I
host.
interviewed, yeah.
Yeah.
I interviewed her on your show, yeah.
Yeah. So she is, she owns an herb store here in the Nashua area, and she was my co-host for the month of January.
Ah.
And they were talking about an herbal internship that they were doing. I've been playing with herbs since the like 80s, so you know.
Wow.
But I mean, I'm not an herbalist, just like I'm not a certified aromatherapist. But as a medical intuitive, you know, I may do a protocol that involves homeopathics and essential oils and herbs. I'll do custom blending so that it matches the illness or disease or whatever that they have as a support for whatever else they're doing. So, you know, you do it through an inhaler, but I often say, let me put in something that makes you want to like it, and then it replaces your cologne, your perfume, whatever, a couple of drops on your wrist, you know, a few drops on a cotton ball and a bag that you can carry in your backpack or your purse or stuff like this. And I do a lot with aromatherapies with the ADD population.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah. My books are called Managing the Gift.
Okay.
So my first two of my books start with that: Managing the Gift of Attention Deficit Disorder and Managing the Gift of your ADD, ADHD child. But aromatherapies are very powerful for them. Do you see yourself making another blend? If there was another blend out there that you thought would be good, are you in a formulation? If you are, will you share it, or is it top secret?
Well, Elena, the analyst, and I have been talking about you know, the idea of coming up with a blend for mental focus or clarity. You know, get rid of foggy thinking.
Yep.
Yes, yes. So still in the early stages, but we're looking at rosemary as a key oil. You know, it's one of my favorite oils. But it's known for its ability to improve concentration and to, you know, clear out foggy thinking, that kind of stuff. So that's what we're talking about. We'll see.
It's interesting. Clarity, definitely people that are foggy brained. Let me see, what was it? It's going to be February what? 21st, 22nd, 23rd, or something like that. I can't remember the exact dates.
Oh, I don't know. I'm all foggy.
We just had the Web of Light astrologer on about the upcoming astrology for the time of Pisces. And there's a particular intense period where everyone's going to be in a fog. I think it's the last week of February from an astrological standpoint.
Good to know.
What if it's right now? We just can't remember. It might be right now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who are you? Where? What's going on? What are all these lights?
What do you...
We might want to watch this before it airs.
Yes.
So it will be, clarity is definitely an interesting one. I'm gonna, because I had come up with some formulas for some custom blends for ADD and ADHD. I talked to a couple of the major carriers at essential oils, no names that I'm going to mention, which they were all excited until they weren't excited, because I'm like, well, no, they have to have my name on the line.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
These are blends that I'm creating.
Right.
And the second thing, I was like, well, but this isn't what we teach. And I said, I understand that, but the ADD mind works differently. And the problem is the stuff that you're putting out there doesn't actually help the ADD individual because they're wired differently. And I'm coming from, you know, I've worked with this since the late 90s. So I'm coming with 15, 18 years of tried and true experience of what works in this population.
Right.
And you don't want to get off your, oh no, it has to be what's in all of our published literature. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's very interesting.
Wow.
LeShelle, welcome. Thank you for coming. We're getting ready to wrap down.
Okay.
LeShelle Woodard and LE Essentials are going to be at the Web of Light Expo. She is going to definitely be speaking on mindfulness, and we may be seeing her actually speak on integrative holistic care for the 21st century, a working model.
Indeed.
Now there's a title. I come up with titles for people all the time.
Wow.
You don't have to take it, but if you like it, feel free.
Okay.
There are lots of things out there that can help from lots of different perspectives. When you take a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and you see what works, maybe for you, a little bit more of this and a little less of that, or just the opposite, could be the perfect blend for you. You are like no other person that is walking on the earth today. Do not look for one-size-fits-all solutions. We've got addicted to them in America, and it's a bad addiction, and it does horrible things in the long run because none of us are average. So find that which fits you perfectly. And if it's a little of this, a little of that, and none of that, that's fine. But it's your responsibility to bring in the people that can give you more information with which to make better decisions so you can move forward and have the life you deserve. Namaste.